the previous round of the British Rally Championship, it was sunshine and smiles for Adrian Fourmaux as he claimed win number 3 on his home round, the Ardèche Ypres Rally, with Casey J. Coleman taking his first junior win of the season on the Belgian lanes. Round 4 of the championship heads to Northern Ireland for the Modern Tyres Ulster Rally, the prestigious 2-day event promising to deliver some challenging stages as the title fight moves into the second half of the season. After a recce of the stages, Adrian Fourmaux was looking forward to the challenge that the Irish lanes offered.
Well, it's quite narrow stages with a lot of bumps, some grass in the middle of the road, sometimes it's wide and fast with some crest. There is a bit of mix of everything, I would say. Sometimes really fast, sometimes a bit slow, muddy with some cuts sometimes. So yeah, it will be a big challenge, I think, with the condition we'll find on this event.
Gary Pearson would look to manage his expectations ahead of the event. He had to finish, and that could mean playing it safe.
No, I think for us, I think first time here in 10 years, and last time was in a two-wheel drive car. It's going to be a bit of learning. So no, I think we'll let the boys go away and do their own thing, and we'll stick to our own plan.
The race for the junior title was always close, and Kyle White knew that there was no chance of an easy ride, even on home soil.
No, well, in the British Championship, there's absolutely no time to bed yourself in. If you're not on it from the word go, you just have to hemorrhage time. But yeah, we're here and we're looking forward to it.
Kyle McBride couldn't decide what the weather was going to do, opting to take out a couple of spares to cover any eventuality.
Yeah, well, we haven't left yet, so yeah, it's hard to know that the choice is going to be tricky for sure. So yeah, it's very, very tricky out there, but we'll see.
32 miles of stages lie ahead of the crews on the opening evening of the rally, with 2 stages repeated. And with Storm Betty on the way, it was set to be a dramatic evening inside and outside of the cars. So as the cars leave the start ramp at Modern Tyres' fantastic facility in Newry, we can head out to the stages and look at how the first day of competition unfolded. With a hat-trick of wins this season, it was no surprise to see Adrian Fourmaux and Alexandra Correa topping the timesheets as they made their way through the tough opening day, but it certainly wasn't straightforward. The first loop of stages were challenging enough, but by the time the crews headed out into the second loop, Storm Betty was in full effect, and even staying on the road became an ordeal. Gary Pearson hadn't been to Ulster in a number of years, so there would already be some caution heading into this round, and with his joker in play, the focus would centre around collecting valuable points. Co-driver Daniel Barrett would certainly have his work cut out for him though, as they were suffering with a misted-up windscreen by the third stage of the evening. One crew who knew about that all too well would be Alan Carmichael and Claire Williams. A misted-up windscreen was just one of a number of issues that the pairing suffered. A broken shock absorber left them floundering. They get caught in the stage, and Claire resorted to stop calling the notes and simply guide Alan round the stages due to the poor visibility. A starter motor failure added to the frustrations, and sadly for the National Rally title crew, it would be game over as they wouldn't start day 2. It would be a bittersweet return to the junior BRC for Johan Lloyd and Sean Williams. With Johan recovering from food poisoning, they would lead the way for the first loop of stages, but unfortunately the Peugeot developed a power issue and they wouldn't make it out of the 4th stage. They hoped to be back under Super Rally for day 2. So with Lloyd dropping from the lead, it would be Kyle McBride and Liam McIntyre that stepped up to take that place with a storming drive through the 3rd test. And given a lack of experience in the car in the wet, it was a great end to the day. The fight was close though, with a lead of just 3.3 seconds overnight. Second place would belong to Kyle White and Sean Topping. Going out on slicks to start with might have been the wrong choice, but things were still going well. That said, Kyle's mind might have been on other things though, as he was waiting to hear from his wife, who was due to give birth at any moment. Winners from the previous round, Casey J. Coleman and Lorca Moore, were contesting both the British and Irish Championships this weekend, so there was added pressure to get a result. The rain had led them to have a cautious second loop thanks to suffering some aquaplaning in the treacherous conditions, but they get through in one piece and would be glad to see a drier day 2. And in the BRC4 category, Stephen Waugh and Mark Broadbent were making their debut on the Irish lanes and enjoying themselves in the process, and they were certainly having everything thrown at them out there on the opening day. So with a rather wet and windy day 1 complete at the Modern Tyres Ulster Rally, it advantaged Fourmaux once again, and that battle in the junior BRC was hotting up, even if the weather wasn't.
Adrian, that's the first day of the Ulster Rally. Done some really tricky conditions out there for you. How's it been?
That was a crazy day, I would say. The rain was really heavy in the first stage. So yeah, really tricky. We are happy, we are really consistent in our time. We are still leading the rally, so it's really positive. You can make big gap honestly in those conditions if you are taking risks, but you can also stay on the side of the road, so it's really tricky to find the balance.
Gary, that's been 4 very tough, very long and very wet stages, but how have you coped with that one?
Yeah, no, I think first couple of stages is really difficult, but we've probably grown into it, and I think we're getting quicker as the stages go on. But third stage was definitely really challenging, probably the worst of the loop, but a lot of rain and a lot of standing water, and the windscreen missed up as well, so that was quite difficult. But yeah, no, we're here and we're happy.
Kyle, really tough conditions out there on the Ulster Rally. It's been 4 stages, but probably felt like a lot longer today.
Yeah, it's a long loop. Yeah, tricky, as you might say, tricky morning, but a tricky evening. No, we're happy with how our evening went. The night stage was a bit tricky. First time kind of on the car on the night stage and on the wet, so a lot to learn. But no, we're just tipping along. There's a lot more left yet, but we're happy with how we've done.
Kyle, it's been really tough out there today. 4 really brutal stages. Talk us through your day.
Yeah, it's a story of wrong tyre choice today. I think of the one stage that we did have a good run was the last one. It's the only time we got the tyres right. We took both runs over the first stage. We took slicks, even the second loop. I don't know why, just maybe me being me, but we hemorrhaged time a wee bit. But we took a good load of time back in that last one there, which has set us up nicely for tomorrow.
On to day 2, and the rally would move to 3 new stages, and the effects of Storm Betty were certainly there to welcome the crews in the morning, leaving the stages full of standing water and mud, as well as plenty of leaves and branches over the stage. Thankfully, this one only causing an issue for our camera team, and not the rally cars. Despite the tricky conditions, there certainly wasn't any backing off for the crews. Adrian Fourmaux and Alexandra Correa pushing the M Sport Fiesta through the stages to extend a small advantage over Irish tarmac contender Callum Devine at the top of the results. Running first on the road was causing them a few sideways moments with the condition of the stages. Gary Pearson and Daniel Barrett were trying to improve the pace as the event went on, but they knew that they wouldn't be challenging for the win and would be happy to keep that second place. With the points in mind, they have a good push without taking any risks. It would be all change again in the junior BRC as Kyle White and Sean Topping returned to form and regained the lead of the category with a string of top times. They were on course to add win number 3 to the score sheets. The change around would be in part due to a spin on the final stage of the loop for Kyle McBride and Liam McIntyre, only losing a small amount of time, but it was enough to put them 28 seconds back from the leaders now. Things were not going to plan for Casey J. Coleman and Lorcan Moore. A puncture early into the loop would cost them time. The fact that they didn't have another spare would also cause them to back off a little too. They couldn't risk another puncture before service. And after super rallying on day 2, it would be some good times being put in by Johan Lloyd and Sean Williams. Seat time was the goal now, their chances of a win ending on day 1. Meanwhile, things were still going to plan for Stephen Waugh and Mark Broadbent, despite these slippery conditions eager to catch them out, but they were having fun on their Irish debut. So with just 3 stages remaining, it's all change in the junior BRC with our third leader so far. but perhaps predictably no change at the top as Fourmaux is in the pound seat for the Ulster Rally win. On to the final loop of stages, and we would unfortunately lose Stephen Waugh and Mark Broadbent. Things had been going well for the BRC4 pair, but they would fail to emerge from the final stage of the event. A disappointing way to end a tough weekend. In the junior BRC, it would be a somewhat expected end to the event for Johan Lloyd and Sean Williams. They were never going to make up for that Super Rally time and would have to settle for fourth. And it would be a similar story for Casey J. Coleman and Lorcan Moore too. That puncture earlier in the day had taken away any chance of fighting for a higher place on the results, and they would settle for third. Kyle McBride and Liam McIntyre would have to settle for second place, unable to claw back any time to the leaders and taking the runner-up place for the fourth time this season. A win for the pair really can't be far off now. But that of course means that it's the junior BRC win here in Newry for Kyle White and Sean Topping, strengthening their lead at the top of the championship standings with 3 wins out of 4. All that was left to do was spray the champagne and get himself home to await the new arrival to the family.
Kyle, fair to say a bit of a challenging weekend. Tell us the story.
Yeah, so firstly I'd like to thank my missus for letting me come here today. Obviously the baby with being due about now, it's been a massive ask to do this, but thanks to her firstly. Thank to all the team. We had a pretty bad run last night with wrong tyre choices dropping a lot of time. But to do what we did today, come back from adversity, and just the pace we were on today was just like nothing I've done before. And especially in the challenging conditions that all the marshals have stood out in all weekend. A big credit to them, but I'll enjoy this one.
Back to the overall BRC results, and it would be second place for Gary Pearson and Daniel Barrett. That joker being played to full effect here, and 22 points added to the total for the season. It hadn't been easy, but the return to the Irish lanes had been a successful one. And that, of course, means that it's the Ulster Rally win for Adrian Fourmaux and Alexandra Correa, who also managed to keep the Irish Tarmac Rally Championship regulars at bay. It's 4 from 4 now in the BRC too, with a commanding position at the top of the championship standings. But the race for the title is not over yet, and with the Frenchman not on the entry for the next round in a couple of weeks' time, it's all to play for. So with the Ulster Rally completed, here is a reminder of those results after a tricky weekend in the lanes.
Adrian, again, congratulations, 4 out of 4. Give us a roundup of your weekend.
Well, it's the perfect weekend we can expect it actually. It was really tricky, so really good experience for us driving in this condition on a really tricky rally. We knew Ireland tarmac is really special, but I can tell you now it's really, really special. The stages are crazy. It's really nice to drive on the dry. On the wet, it starts to be a really big challenge. And actually, it's 4 events for a win in the championship, so honestly, it cannot be better.
Next up, the British Rally Championship makes its final foray on asphalt in 2023 as the crews head to Wales for the JDS Machinery Rally Ceredigion. With Fourmaux missing from the entry, it will be a new name at the top of the results for the first time this season. Join us in just over a week's time as we bring you all the action from Aberystwyth.